Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Jared Pratt, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Wing Commander Michael Garside. We warmly welcome the family of Warrant Officer William Wallace Collens, whose story will be told shortly. We're honoured to acknowledge the Honourable Mr. Frank Kendall, United States Secretary of the Air Force, accompanied by Chief of Air Force Air Marshal Robert Chipman and the accompanying delegation. We also warmly welcome Air Commodore Mark Lax, retired, representing the Air Force Association, and the delegation representing the Cobram Bogra RSL sub-branch. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors, family and students from the Crescent Head Public School in New South Wales. If able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be placed at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Warrant Officer William Wallace Collens. William Collens was born on the 12th of May 1914 in Castlemaine, Victoria, the eldest son of Eugene and Catherine Collens. Known as Bill, he left school at the age of 14 and found work in a gold mine near Lancefield. He later worked for Eclipse Radio in Melbourne and attended Working Men's College in the evenings. In 1935, the Collens family moved to Kyabram, and Bill took on a position with G. Ruler and Co., stock and station agents. On the 4th of January 1941, he enlisted for service with the Royal Australian Air Force. By then, 26-year-old Collens had been serving in the militia for a year and a half and was a member of 4th Division Signals. He began training as an air observer, attending Air Observers School and Bombing and Gunnery School at Evans Head and Advanced Navigation School at Parkes. On the 23rd of August 1941, Bill Collens married Thelma Annie Rutherford, known as Annie, to whom he had been engaged since March. Not long after the wedding, on the 16th of November 1941, he embarked for overseas service. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, he was one of almost 27,500 RAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, air gunners and flight engineers who, throughout the course of the war, joined Royal Air Force squadrons or Australian squadrons based in Britain. Having travelled to the United Kingdom in early February 1942, Collens joined No. 42 Operational Training Unit, based at RAF Andover in Hampshire. After training as a member of crew for multi-engine aircraft operations, in mid-June, Collens transferred to No. 114 Squadron, RAF. Part of Bomber Command, No. 114 Squadron flew night attacks using Bristol Blenheim light bombers. In August, the squadron withdrew from duties to convert to the new Blenheim Mark V bomber in preparation for deployment support of Operation Torch, the Anglo-American invasion of French North Africa. Collens left the squadron, transferring to the newly established No. 464 Squadron, RAAF, which officially formed on the 1st of September 1942 at RAF Feltwell, Norfolk, under the Empire Air Training Scheme. Equipped with Lockheed Ventura light bombers, the squadron joined 2 Group of Bomber Command. Its first operation, an attack on the Philips radio factory at Eindhoven in the Netherlands on the 6th of December 1942, characterised its method of carrying out precision raids against point targets. In daylight attacks, the squadron flew in close formation across the English Channel at low level to avoid detection by enemy radar, and then climbed quickly to their bombing altitude of 10,000 feet, swiftly diving again to sea level after the attack and leaving their escort to prevent pursuit. Losses were generally light on these tip and run raids, but on many occasions aircraft were badly damaged. Collens was injured during his first operation and spent some time in hospital recovering. On the 4th of April 1943, 12 Venturas took off from RAF Methwold to bomb the docks at Rotterdam in Holland. There was considerable opposition over the target area, with heavy and accurate flak, and several aircraft were damaged. Collins' aircraft was hit over the target area but continued in formation until close to the Dutch coast, when it lagged behind, lost height and eventually ditched. The aircraft was believed to be finished off by enemy fighters. A search sent out later in the day was unsuccessful, and all crew members were presumed to have died. They were Warrant Officer Eric Cole, Flight Sergeant Dudley Fulford, Flight Sergeant Albert Lush, and Warrant Officer William Collens, who was 29 years old. With no known grave, today William Collens is commemorated at the Runnymede Memorial by the banks of the River Thames. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Warrant Officer William Wallace Collens, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If able, please stand for the reading of the Ode and sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a pleasant evening. Thank you.